Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in and joining us for the Safe Software webinar on Enterprise Integration Solutions for Government. A little bit about who you're going to hear from today. My name is Carol Murphy, and I am the Channel Account Manager for Asia Pacific.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Tom Seymour, and I look after our provincial, state, and local government customers for North America.
And good morning or afternoon, wherever you guys are calling in from. My name is TriCounty, and I'm an account manager here with the federal government agencies, as well as transportation, including state DOTs.
Great, thanks, guys. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to write them into the panel, and we will have time for Q&A at the end. So what the agenda looks like for today's webinar, we are going to give a little overview about Safe Software if you are new to Safe, and you'll hear about the FME overview, which is our platform. We're also going to discuss customer success stories. We've got some really interesting news stories that we will be showing, and then how you can actually purchase and obtain FME through our subscriptions and different offerings. And as mentioned, we will have time for a Q&A portion. So if you do see something throughout the webinar, feel free to write that in, and we will have time to cover it at the end.
All right, thanks, Carol. Let's dive right in with a few fast facts of Safe Software. So let's go. Over 27 years, we've expanded greatly throughout the globe and into many verticals and industries, continuing to develop the FME platform. You know, our experts, our fantastic experts, help provide guidance and navigation to help utilize FME, and that lends nicely to our mission statement, which is to help you maximize the value of data. So, but also that data that you've collected and you have at hand to help it perform at a higher ROI, you know, by integrating it, moving it, and putting it to work. So that's what we want to be able to do in helping maximize that value of our data. And Tom's going to get us into integrating it.
Great, thank you, Craig. So why do customers, and more specifically government customers, choose to work with us at Safe and use FME? Well, many government customers right across the spectrum from local up to federal have data challenges. This can be for a number of reasons. It can be because of the way departments have been structured. Historically, they've been separate. Usually you have your GIS department, IT, public works, etc. But also because the business systems and applications that you're using all use different types of data in different formats, and they don't readily communicate with each other, and data doesn't flow between them freely into different formats. So this leads to the need for things like custom coding and custom scripting, and then manually running these workflows and repeating them. And this is where FME comes in. So FME can break down those data silos and give your organization a holistic view of your data, remove the need for those emails and those phone calls. And the way this works is through API-driven workflows and what we call transformers and connectors that ship within the product. So FME breaks down those data silos. It allows data to flow freely into different formats. You can read it and write it into different applications. And everybody can have a great view of what the data is doing. So this is a brief snapshot here of what the FME platform looks like. We have three key products, the main one being FME Desktop. So this is where you author your workflows in what we call the workbench. We have a variety of readers and writers that can move data in and out of desktop. And then we have transformers, which are the blue boxes that you see there, that you use to manipulate, transform, and integrate your data into different systems. And the product's really grown over the years, so now we can work with up to 450 types of data formats and applications, and this is growing all the time. As you can see there, desktop is a visual GUI, so it's a drag and drop interface. There's no need for any custom coding or custom scripting. Although saying that, if you do have scripts that you wish to retain in Python and R, for example, you can incorporate those into your workflows as well. Then we have FME Server, which is a complementary product to desktop. So FME Server is our automation tool. You can publish your workflows from desktop up to FME Server, and then you can do a number of things with that in terms of automations. You can set up schedule events, so perhaps you want all of your workflows to run every night at 2 a.m. You can also set up directory watches, so perhaps you want to watch for incoming emails or incoming data files, and that will trigger a workflow. And you can do a number of cool things with FME Server as well. You know, perhaps not everybody in your organization is going to have authoring rights for FME Server, but other colleagues that you have may need to run workflows. So through FME Server apps, you can publish an automation to a URL, and then your colleagues can simply go to that URL and then run the workflow from there without editing or changing it. And then thirdly, we have FME Cloud. This is simply FME Server, but we host this for you in AWS. So you don't have any of the on-prem setup, and then that's managed for you by us. And then we also have mobile apps now with FME, so you can take FME wherever you are with you into the field. Perhaps you're collecting data in Survey 123 or Collector, and you want to send this immediately back to FME Desktop. You can do that through our mobile apps.
We are now going to look at some enterprise use cases in relation to FME. So we will cover various of topics: application integration, data validation and conformance, IoT sensor data and vehicle tracking, open data portals, digital plan submissions, and multi-jurisdiction data sharing.
Great. So the first one we've got here, the City of Surrey, this focuses on application integration. And if that term's new to you, that simply means integrating data between your spatial and your non-spatial business systems. So Surrey were looking to do this for their water meter project. Prior to utilizing FME, they had hundreds of manual scripts that they had a team running, and it was taking them weeks to months to have these water meters registered as live and in service to be viewed by citizens and also by internal city staff. FME was able to eliminate these data silos and really streamline this project. So when the permit was released in their permitting and licensing system, this would trigger a workflow in FME to drop feature classes into their ArcGIS system to show the buildings and the number of meters that were due to be installed, the locations for those. At the same time, this would trigger a workflow in their asset management system for work orders and service requests to get the city crews and engineers onto site to install the meters. And now, thanks to FME, through a combination of desktop and server, these meters are now registered as live and in service immediately as soon as they're installed.
Yeah, and here's one we're talking about sensor data and IoT devices can contain spatial data useful in many ways for smart government initiatives, including fire and fleet and winter operations. And here the Iowa DOT developed a dashboard with real-time traffic operations. So they had a public initiative. You know, the public was always getting questions, asking them questions around where will the plows be? What roads are cleared? And so the team integrated sensor data from onboard devices of the trucks, including the plow cam and materials equipment, making it available to the public, showing how many plows were in operation, which roads were cleared and salted. Images from the truck can also be shared for increased safety and awareness during snowfall. And so they were also able to pull sensor data from bridges and detect roads that are possibly going to be flooding after the snow melts, making it unsafe. So as you guessed, this is all an automated process with event-driven workflows between several different databases and web apps and technology systems. It's a successful initiative that allows the people to make sound driving decisions based on road conditions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom and Craig. We're now going to hear a live story from Adam Anderson. He is the Health Data and GIS Manager at TriCounty Health Department in Colorado.
My name is Adam Anderson, and I work for TriCounty Health Department in Colorado, and we are the local public health department for 3 of the 7 metro area counties in the Denver metro area. And we've been using FME to manage and process data around our COVID response. TriCounty Health Department is made up of 3 counties and 27 municipalities, and we have roughly 1.5 million people in our jurisdiction. We have everything from urban, suburban, to rural environments. We've got a staff of about 425 people, and right now we have 5 data analysts that have been supporting this COVID work. And then We have been reporting out data at numerous geographic resolutions, including census tract, neighborhood, municipalities, counties, school districts, legislative districts, water districts, and zip codes. The data that we have been processing involves our COVID case investigation data, our contact tracing data, testing data, our vaccine data, data from our local hospitals, and masking mobility data. We also use FME to facilitate data collection around our case investigations and our contact tracing and then case management. And then we use all of that data to help populate our data dashboards and tools, which includes public-facing dashboards, internal dashboards we use for COVID planning, and then that takes the form of feature services in our Esri Cloud, Google Sheets, Excel reports, and SQL databases. This first diagram that we're looking at is the workflow for our case investigation and contact tracing system that we have developed in-house that we use to do our case investigations. We have data coming in from multiple sources, and you can see those in the green boxes. And then we have data that it's feeding into, and then we're also collecting data within dashboards, which you can see in the blue boxes, and then the red boxes are the data collection tools. But the main takeaway point of all of this would just be that we have several FME workbenches that are facilitating the movement of data from those databases into the dashboards, from the data collection tools into the databases. You can see by this diagram that all of those are tied together by these FME workbenches that are shown in yellow. The next process that we have is related to just the data flows in general outside of case investigation and contact tracing, where we are pulling data out of our databases where we're storing that information or storing that data. And so you can see the blue boxes are the databases, and the green boxes are Excel file, or basically flat files, so Excel files, CSVs, and text files. And so a lot of times what's required of us is to pull out those flat files from the database, and then we need to use FME to read those flat files into our databases that we have locally here. And you can see that with all the blue squiggly arrows are our workbenches that are pulling data out of those flat files and bringing them into our databases, so that way we can use them for our own case investigation and contact tracing purposes, in addition to feeding into our public-facing dashboards and our internal dashboards. So this would be our main case dashboard, and you can see that these are just summaries for our entire jurisdiction, and we basically just chop it up by county. So we have 3 counties within our jurisdiction. Vaccines that, so we get a flat file from our state health department every day for all of the vaccines that have been administered. And we can track that by individual doses, and so we can see how many who have had 1 dose versus 2 doses, and we can see what day that vaccine was administered, and then we have this just color coded by our counties. So if anybody who's working specifically in a given county wanted to see what's going on, they can filter out to their county. This is just a screenshot of our FME server setup, and just these are the completed jobs as of a few days ago, and you can see that we basically run workbenches 24 hours a day. A lot of these have multiple workbenches embedded in them through the automation setups. Yeah, this has been critical in terms of just being able to process all of this data, because again, this is the first time that public health, that in my experience in public health, where if data is over 2 days old, it's already old. It just wasn't a common experience, so it's something that we weren't necessarily prepared for. If we were to get rid of FME and then just manually update data, and those 3 people just updated the data sets every single day, nonstop all day long, it would probably take about 3 people to do that continuously. Just to reiterate sort of the items that the data that we bring in on a daily basis. So case data, vaccine data, test data, hospitalization data, and some of our masking mobility data, and reading and writing that to multiple data systems and being able to combine that has been a huge success. And then just the processing that we end up doing with those data every single day, whether it's geocoding or querying them or overlaying them, but being able to automate that has been critical in terms of delivering data on a daily basis. That is just a quick overview of what we've been doing with FME. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email's right here. And if you wanted to see some of those data products, there's a URL right here that you can go to and see some of those. Thanks.
Awesome. That was excellent, Adam. Thank you so much for sharing that. Excellent. One of the key foundational workflows that's common across many of our federal agencies is data validation. And the USFS, the U.S. Forest Service, Office of the Chief Information Office, developed a change detection process for their roads from multiple regions and sources to keep data synchronized with their data warehouse. And this is an excellent reminder around the importance of data flow. So something our listeners might be able to relate to is often a department might be requested or required to report, share or publish data to another department or agency or a regulatory body. So you need to have that integrity of data in mind to make sure you aren't passing incorrect data along. And as you can see here, there's in the image, there's a lot of work being done, processed daily, anywhere from 4,000 to 5,200 jobs a day. And in this case, the team is sharing it with another business unit, the GPAS team, which is the Geo-Enabled Performance Assessment System. And they take these results, they take them into their BI system, IBM Cognos, to build out analytics queries that help them with their decision-making for maintaining and management and conservation of U.S. national forests. So overall, you can see, again, where I'm going with this, this is an automated process with built-in validation, allows you to scale out the workflow and reduces errors, saves time, facilitates sharing between organizations and agencies. And I think Tom has a similar validation process up next.
Great. So focusing back now at local government level, the City of Henderson in Nevada were looking to use FME to help them with their digital plan submission process. So this is submitting CAD files for plans and developments and moving those into a GIS system at the city. And prior to using FME, they were finding there is the risk of duplication of work within the CAD plans. There's also manual error that could creep in. So using FME Server, they're able to sort of create their own self-serve data portal for contractors and developers that they're working with. And these developers would submit their CAD files through to FME, and through a combination of quality assurance and quality control transformers, FME was able to scan these plans and check for any duplication of work or errors. And if there was anything that cropped up, it would produce a detailed error report. And this would then be fed back to the developers so they could see exactly what needed to be changed, what needed to be amended. And this would eliminate the need for the city to make calls and emails to speak with the developers on this. Once that had been corrected, it would then be accepted by FME and move through into the city's GIS system. And using this process, the City of Henderson were able to reduce their data integration time by 75%, which is a really nice ROI. And now moving into our last use case here, this focuses on the County of Santa Clara. Looking at multi-jurisdiction data sharing. So this involves sharing data between all different levels of government. It could be city to county, county to state, or it could even be, city and county up to federal level. Santa Clara County were looking to improve their emergency response time for callouts, and they're also looking to improve the number of known address points within the county. So using FME, they were able to aggregate 15 city datasets from within the county. And this helped them to identify duplicate addresses and also generate this information into multiple output formats for their emergency response. The end result of this was something that they called the Regional Address Map for Public Safety, and cities now contribute address data on a quarterly basis, which has significantly increased the number of known addresses across the county, and it's helped reduce their emergency response time as well.
So we've heard from a couple of our customers and looked at some really interesting use cases from an FME perspective. So now I'm sure you're wondering how you can actually obtain FME. We do have multiple options available. Our latest one is the subscription offering. We're seeing a lot of success with this on a global scale, but also within obviously the government space. And the key thing with FME is we want to give you flexibility and choice. So we do have our pricing listed on our website, and I'm going to ask Tom to talk about the local government subscription.
So the local government subscription is a really exciting product. It's something we've had now for 2 years at SAFE, and we've seen great success with it right across North America. It was really designed to help small to mid-sized cities, counties, and regional governments really make the best use of FME. We know that local government has finite budgets, and that doesn't always align with their growth needs for FME and purchasing at list price. So that's why we implemented the local government subscription. The subscription works through a tiered pricing model based on a city or a region's population. And through that model, for an annual fee, it provides you unlimited access to both FME desktop and FME server. It also rolls in your existing licenses that you own, and it eliminates those annual maintenance payments. Those become rolled into the annual fee. So really it provides local governments a great entry point to grow with the product as they need. It eliminates time lag on projects. It gives you predictable budgeting and certainty of price. We can help you agree pricing up to 5 years out. And it's important to stress that you're only ever signing up to 1 year of the subscription at a time. Each year you can send us a PO, or you can speak to us directly, and we can just issue an invoice for year 2. But we like to give you that budget certainty, so you know what the pricing will be for 3 to 5 years. It's also really easy to get access to licenses as you grow and need more from the product. You can simply email your account manager, and we can usually turn that licensing around for you the same day. So as I mentioned, it's geared towards the mid to small size cities, but if you are over 500,000 in population, we do have other great options available for you through the enterprise subscription, which Carol will talk about.
The enterprise subscription is a fantastic offering for, as Tom mentioned, those cities or councils that are on the larger scale of things. With the enterprise subscription, especially if you are a new customer too, and not sure of how much you plan to deploy of FME as a full enterprise solution, there is a threshold value associated. How we work out the pricing is usually it's 35% of list price, and we have our calculator listed on the website, which I will show. So the enterprise subscription model here is done in 5,000 incremental amounts, with the first tier starting at 15,000. But as mentioned, the key with us is flexibility. It is such a powerful solution, and we want to ensure your organization maximizes it. So do talk to us about budget, if it's in a different budget cycle, or if you're coming to the end of your year, or you've just started a new fiscal year. Feel free to reach out to us at the government team at government@safe.com to discuss further pricing options and how we can work with you on what's appropriate from a pricing perspective. So a couple of key takeaways from today's webinar. Enterprise integration is key for a whole organization solution.
Yeah, and I also think another key takeaway would be that we have data solutions for all levels of government available to you. We've only been able to share a handful with you today on this webinar, but we do have many more use cases for local, state, and federal government. I'd encourage you to check out our customer success stories gallery on the website. And please do also reach out to us as account managers and channel account managers. And we are happy to speak to you about what your peers and your colleagues are doing in your region also.
Yeah, good point, Tom. That's for sure. And it's important to remember that I'd say, we're really flexible. The enterprise and local subscriptions are fantastic solutions to get the most value of FME for your organization. All right, so we've gone through a lot of information. And you might be wondering, how do I start? Where do I begin? And I would definitely highly recommend you go in and get a trial license first. Start evaluating FME, at least FME desktop, and then go and dig into some of our knowledge and training. We have a ton of live online training. We also have on demand, do it at your own pace, recorded training. And once you do that, start with the FME desktop basic training. And then, if you're hitting a wall, you're bumping into some problems, you definitely can find us on live chat, or if you have something very specific, definitely go in and submit a ticket. We're happy to have a case opened, and we can come alongside and give you a hand there. And I want to talk about the FME Hub. Actually, recently was updated with a big overhaul on some connectors and templates, as well as custom transformers. So things like CityWorks and Maximo, to name a couple that you'll be able to find at the FME Hub. And with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna take some questions, touch base with Steph to see how everyone's doing. And if you need to head off, definitely thank you for joining us. But we'll open it up to questions here.